This is the cash perspective. And when I hear Assata Shakur, first thing popping to my mind is revolutionary in action, not just word. Her and her comrades stood on business. She was born Joanne Deborah Chesimard. Her life was fairly normal all the way up into high school. You know, 2 loving parents, school, home, normal childhood. Then she gets to college. She joined the Golden Drum Society. It was a pro-black group on her college campus, Afrocentric in nature. They spoke about the Vietnam War, the Rots riots, and other events that was going on at that time with such fervor, such a flair for such a revolutionary flair. She hadn't been exposed to anything like that, and it awoken something in her. She was quoted as saying, "It made me feel alive." So that experience for her is what sparked what she became to be. This was before she was known as Assata. She was still known as Joanne. She had begun to aid black labor strikes. She stood with the Golden Drum Society on the front line in the anti-Vietnam protests. Now, she would say it was at this time when she began to realize that it was a concerted effort on every level. She said all the pieces had started to come together for her at that time. And she realized it was a concerted effort on every level to keep a minority rich and a large swath of the people in perpetual poverty. So she was still trying to find herself at this time. She was young. She believed in something, but she didn't quite know exactly where she was going with all of this. So at that time, she fellowshiped with the Garveyites, Operation Breadbasket, the NAACP, etc. She shopped around because there were a lot of different movements happening at that time, and she ended up settling with the Black Panther Party. It was that revolutionary in her that made her wanting to go that way instead of being on the more political side. So y'all know how they saw the Panthers. I mean, they were an absolute threat. They under massive surveillance, so they obviously couldn't run the programs that they had for the community peacefully. So she stepped away from the party for a little bit, and when she stepped away, she noticed her surveillance had been stepped up. She wanted to move. She wanted to get up out of Dodge. She knew her whole career was bugged. She said she was in the house one day making audio recordings, and the phone rang. So she go to pick up the phone, and before the person who had called her on the other line could speak, she heard a voice. She heard a voice chime in like, "Stop making tapes." It's like they was listening to her, so they knew, you know what I'm saying? She knew she was under surveillance, and she knew they was coming. Then the raid came, but she wasn't there when it happened. But one of the guys in the neighborhood, one of her comrades slid on her, I guess caught her before she made it back, like, "Yo, don't go home, because they just hit your crib." So what she do? She got up out of there. She went on the run for 2 years. Now, while she on the run, they sneaky, right? They adding charges. You know, she was like they charging her for basically everything every female did in the New York area, right? Every violent crime that was attached to a female, it was putting it on her. So this BOLO, this APB, this whatever goes out nationwide, like we looking for Joanne Chesimard, aka Assata Shakur, and she's extremely dangerous and she's extremely prejudiced towards law enforcement. So all these charges, she's a fugitive for these many charges. Any police who see her, they liable to blow her down, and she knew this. So they on a turnpike in New Jersey in 1977. They get pulled over. It's her and 2 members of the Black Liberation Army, Sundiata, aka Charles Squire, and a guy named James Constant. So when they get pulled over, it's real fuzzy, right? No one really got the truth. Ain't no dash cams at this time, right? But you know, the police got their side. Assata Shakur got her side. Assata Shakur say, Sundiata get out the car, because he was the driver. Sundiata get out the car. Him and the state trooper, because obviously it's two state troopers. There's one named Harper and there's one named Werner Forrester. I guess Harper the one who initiated the stop. Forrester, on the other hand, playing his role as the backup. Sundiata and Harper, they having the conversation, they showed him his license or whatever. And Forrester, so while they handling that, Forrester go around and he talking to Assata, right? He asking her questions or whatever, and I guess he recognized who she is. He draw his weapon. He tell her like, "Yo, put your hands in front of you or whatever," and she do that, and he fired. And when he fired, Sundiata, and James. They get into a bloody shootout. At the end of this shootout, James Constant is dead. Assata Shakur is shot inside the car. The state trooper, Werner Forrester, he smoked. Harper, the other officer, he wounded, but I think he ended up living. Sundiata and Assata, they get up out of there. They get caught a few days later though. Okay. Remember, Assata been shot, so she all bad. They get her to the hospital though once they catch her or whatever. She is being guarded for 2 weeks straight by New Jersey state troopers. She just been charged with killing one of them. So you know this is torture for 2 weeks straight. Every day they telling her this gonna be your last day. And every day they trying to make sure she understands that this really could be her last day. So you know how that goes. And a trial ensued. She and Sundiata, they both was found guilty. And they both were sentenced to a mandatory life sentence. Even though she had been convicted for a state crime in the state of New Jersey, they had what's called the Interstate Compact, which means they could run prisoners and transfer prisoners to wherever they saw fit. So they end up sending her to Alderson, West Virginia. She get out there, she locked up. They put her on the maximum security unit. Now, she done been all through the prison system the last couple of years, obviously. All she done seen in there is black, Puerto Rican. So they put her on the wing with some, she said like 11 to 12 Aryan Sisterhood members and some Manson family members. The only black person over there. So you know they was on bullshit with her every day, right? Eventually though, they get her up out of there. They send her back to Jersey. They send her to Clinton Correctional Facility, the woman's part. Soon as she get in there, they on bullshit with her, right? So this is what the staff do. They'll do little goofy shit like they'll lock the wing down. And they'll be like, see, if it wasn't for her, y'all ass would be doing this and y'all would be out, blah, blah, blah. But it was her who got y'all locked down, yada, 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 right? That's, you know, obviously causing dissension amongst the inmates. They want to kill her. Because every time something happens, or every time they just want to get on some dumb shit, that's all they do is just put, you know, the other inmates against her by instigating and inciting some shit, right? So, in her words, she got tired of it and she made up her mind. She made the decision. She was going to get up out of there. And that's exactly what she did. Now, the state troopers, the police side of it all, they like, man, she had some Black Liberation Army members come through there. They assaulted a couple of the prison guards to get her up out of there. They took control of they commandeered the situation and got her up out of there. Assata's side of the story is, I planned it meticulously. I got up out of there. Nobody got hurt. And there was no assault on the compound. So I really don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I know them people lie. Them people make up shit. And if ain't nobody died, which if it was assault on the compound, I feel like somebody would have died because they got guns out there, right? So, but anyway, she got up out of there. It's kind of fuzzy where she went as soon as she left the joint. Some say she went to Pittsburgh. From Pittsburgh, she made her way down to Florida. And from Florida, she made her way over to Cuba. Assata herself will not tell the story of how she made it to Cuba. But she did say when she made it to Cuba, there was no pre-knowledge. Like Cuba didn't know she was coming. She kind of showed up, diplomatically approached, and Fidel Castro, as gracious as he was, as big of a man as he was, he allowed her in his country and gave her full immunity and told her ain't nobody coming over here ever to get you. And they never came over there and got her. So that's where she's been at since she's escaped back in 1979, and she's been living peacefully there. Now in 2013, the FBI did add her to their most wanted terrorist list, which I think is different from their most wanted fugitive list. I think it holds a different level of priority, a little higher. And New Jersey State Police upped their rewards to $2 million. So they still want her. Obviously, they feel like they never got their get back for losing one of theirs, but I say fuck them. Anyway, get in the comments. Let me know if y'all think the sister should remain free. Let me know if y'all would like to see her brought back here to face American justice. Holla at me. Where y'all heads at? Now you want to know.